This video brought to you by my YouTube members and patrons. Thank you guys. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today is the day before I take a couple days off for Christmas and Christmas Eve. For you guys, that's already happened, and it was just Christmas Day that I missed, but for me, I'm taking a couple days off. So the final video I'm recording before I take a couple days off is going to be r/tifu, or Today I Fucked Up, a subreddit dedicated to people telling stories of things that they have done that didn't end so well, or maybe weren't the best move. Very quickly before we begin, I just wanted to mention that YouTube members and patrons, you guys get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. That equates to about 25p per video. So if that is something that interests you, please do consider joining, as it really helps support the channel. Right, let's get straight into the subreddit, shall we? So we're starting off with a two-parter because there was a post and a follow-up. Today I f***ed up by realizing my mute button wasn't muted during a 2-hour stakeholder meeting. This happened 2 hours ago, and I am still hiding under my blanket. I was in a massive all-hands meeting, about 40 people, for a project launch. Usually I keep my mic hard muted on my headset, but today I was eating lunch, so I was double muted, software mute and headset mute. Or so I thought. About 45 minutes in, the project manager was explaining a delay in the timeline. I was thinking I was safe in my cocoon of silence, let out a very loud, very deep sigh, and muttered, "Oh my god, just get to the point, nobody cares." The audio didn't just pick it up. Because of the way Teams/Zoom prioritizes active speakers, my face popped up on the main screen for a split second. The silence was deafening. The PM paused for a solid 5 seconds. Nobody said anything. He just continued. I slowly reached up and tapped my headset. It beeped. Mute on. It had been off the whole time. I have not checked my Slack messages. I am considering faking my own death and moving to a farm. Too long, didn't read, thought I was double muted during a major stakeholder meeting. Accidentally sighed and told the PM to get to the point in front of 40 people. Now I am afraid to open Slack. Oh god, that's everybody's nightmare, dude. That's one of those nightmares people have alongside the like going to work or school without trousers on nightmare, you know, only this was real. By the way, everybody, PM in this case means personal manager, I think, not prime minister. Anyway, the follow-up. Tifu update, I told my PM to get to the point in front of 40 people, and I finally opened Slack. First of all, thank you to everyone who suggested I fake my own death and move to a farm. I spent last night looking up potato farming tutorials on YouTube, but unfortunately I have a mortgage, so I had to log in this morning. I promised an update, so here is the damage report. I logged in at 8:59 AM. My heart was beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. I hovered over the Slack icon for a solid minute before clicking it. 12 unread messages. Most were from my work friends selling skull emojis and gifs of people digging graves. But there it was, a direct message from the PM himself, sent at 4:30 PM yesterday. The message: "Hey, my name, do you have 5 minutes for a quick sync before stand-up?" I almost threw up. Quick sync is corporate speak for execution. I joined the call. No video. I wasn't ready for him to see the fear in my eyes. He joined. Silence for 3 seconds. Then he laughed. A dry, tired laugh. He said, "So, yesterday." I immediately started apologizing. I unleashed a word salad of technical difficulties, bad day, audio glitch, and "I'm so sorry." He cut me off. "Look, honestly, you weren't wrong. I realized after the meeting that I spent 20 minutes explaining a 2-minute delay. I tend to ramble when I'm stressed about deadlines." I stopped breathing. Was this a trap? He continued. "However, let's maybe keep the commentary to the internal monologue next time. My boss was on that call. He thinks it was unprofessional. I told him you were just frustrated with the audio issues. You owe me one. The result? I am not fired. I am, however, officially the mute guy." During the stand-up meeting today, when I joined, another co-worker typed in chat, "Careful everyone, the truth teller is here." I have taped a physical piece of cardboard over my mute button. I am never speaking again. That is, yeah, that's... I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. That's rough. That's the fear that you would be going through an entire day just like, oh god, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be publicly murdered in front of everyone. I hope to OP and to anybody else that sees sees this, you take this as a example, though, of a good manager, right? You made a mistake, and granted, it was a pretty bad mistake, and it was kind of insulting to the manager, right? But the manager called you up one-on-one, said, you know, you were right, I was rambling, and that's my bad, but like, it wasn't professional, and my boss was on that call, but I did cover for you, so like, maybe don't do it again, right? That's a good manager. Someone who covers for his employee because they made an honest mistake, is okay with the fact that it happened, and just wants you to make sure you don't do it again, right? That's the kind of move a manager makes that's like, this is good. If you're ever in a management position or in a position where you are in charge of other people, this is the kind of energy you should be bringing, right? Where if you have made a mistake, you confess up to it, but you will cover for your employees who have made honest mistakes as well, right? That's a good manager right there, and we approve of that guy. I feel like there are a lot of managers out there who would have just absolutely ripped OP's head off, and OP would have been like banned from ever talking in calls again. Today I f***ed up by thinking it was normal to not be able to open your eyes in the morning for 25 years. Ever since I was a kid, it took me ages to get out of bed. The sunlight coming through the window seemed so bright, I couldn't even open my eyes past a squint. It took maybe 20 to 30 minutes of blinking, squinting, and sometimes fumbling around with my eyes closed before I was fully awake. My mother told me that it just took a while to get used to the light in the morning, and that it took a bit to fully wake up. I planned every morning around 20 minutes of blinking, squinting, and trying not to go back to sleep. I am 27 years old, so this had just been a fact of life for me. I set a second alarm an hour before I have to actually get up, so I have plenty of time to wake up and possibly fall back asleep for a bit. I have a toddler now and he sleeps terribly, so mornings have been rough for me. One morning I took a picture of myself with squinty, lopsided, because one side was able to open a bit more, eyes, to show to a friend how exhausted I looked first thing in the morning. She asked me why my eyes were like that, and I told her I hadn't gotten used to the light. She was even more confused. I asked some friends and did some Googling. It was not normal. Most people just open their eyes in the morning. A friend suggested that maybe I slept with my eyes open, and while I wasn't sure about that, I noticed that my son did sleep with his eyes cracked, so it stood to reason that I did too. I bought nighttime eye gel and eye drops for the morning, and used them the first time last night/today. Sure enough, I woke up with my eyes a bit sensitive and hard to open, less than usual thanks to the gel. I reached for the drops, put them in, and opened my eyes immediately. It was like I had been up for an hour. The light didn't bother me, my eyes were wide open, and I felt wide awake. My entire life, I had thought it was normal, but I cured myself of a daily inconvenience by spending $20. Now I am trying to convince my mum to try the drops too. LMAO. Too long didn't read. Today I f***ed up by thinking that the symptoms of me sleeping with my eyes cracked was just a part of life. Yeah. So, lesson to everyone at home, once again, if you have something like this, there is probably a cause, and no, it isn't something that just everybody suffers from. It does raise the question to me though, is I wonder how many people just live with daily inconveniences, both chronic disorders, physical disabilities, mental disorders, just things like this, allergies, all of those things, and just assume that everybody feels that way, because I do expect that there are a lot of people out there that have things like that just assume that that's how everybody feels, that everybody just feels that way, and quite often, no, that's not the case. We actually had our own example of that with Leo, who is in a different room right now, which was, I think it was with walnuts, but it was with a type of nut anyway, and Leo was like, oh yeah, no, they're really weird, they make my tongue feel like tingly and fuzzy, and I was like, they're not supposed to do that, that's not something that happens to everyone, I think that's a mild allergy. He was like, oh. I think my mum gets the same thing with almonds. But yeah, so if you deal with a daily inconvenience caused by your body, or some kind of chronic pain, or some kind of like state of mind issue or mental disorder or anything like that, that you are just assume that everybody suffers with, maybe look it up and see if actually everybody does suffer with that, because you might be surprised and there might be something you can do about it. Today I f***ed up by telling my wife how hot she looked in a shirt. This happened not even half an hour ago. We're going out for my mother-in-law's birthday this evening. and my wife came out and asked if the shirt she was wearing looked okay on her. It wasn't anything special, but she looked damn good in it. Really good, and I told her so. It fit great and was just the perfect amount of tight in the right places. I joked about looking forward to getting it off her later, making the lame dad joke about the only way the t-shirt would look better is if it was on our bedroom floor. She laughed and said I was going to regret saying that. Turns out, my mum gave it to her. It wasn't new. My mum had it for a while, but hadn't worn it for ages. We visited her over Thanksgiving weekend. My mum and my wife went through her closet to see what she might want before donating the rest to a shelter. My wife started to tease me, asking if I thought it looked that hot when my mum wore it. Then our kids started piling on, going extra with it after being icked out by my earlier comments. A few minutes later, my phone started blowing up. My wife took no time to share this with my mum and sisters. Now I'm getting shit from every side, and I supplied the ammunition. I have no doubt whatsoever that my wife will make sure to wear the shirt the next time we get together with my family. Too long didn't read. My wife wore a hand-me-down shirt she got from my mother, and now I'm getting abused by everyone for letting her know how sexy she looks in it. So a couple things to note that OP did say here. First of all, his kids are adults. They're not like underage kids who, yeah, that's the first thing to note. He hasn't said things like that in front of underage kids. They are adults, and he said they've probably heard worse over the years. Whatever. Second thing to note is he said that he has a family that often mocks and rips each other apart. It's a very teasing family. Nothing was done maliciously. Like his wife sending that to his mum going, haha, let's laugh at your son wasn't malicious. It was just a thing that the family does. So also fine. But yeah, that's like telling your partner they look good in something is a good thing, I feel. Always a good thing. But yeah, it's unfortunate when it's some clothing that was given to your partner by your mother. Even if you didn't know, it's just uh-oh, oh dear, oh no. Yeah, that's I can see the bullying. I can see the bullying coming from a mile away. Today I f***ed up by putting 2 lightning strikes next to my username. So I'm a fan of meteorology and lightning storms. So when I was renovating my Twitter account, I put 2 lightning strikes next to my username. I thought nothing of it, really. I thought it was cute, if anything. So when I'm swarmed with a dude calling me a Nazi, I was confused because I never stood for anything hateful or discriminatory. So then one of my friends, they come up to me and tell me about the lightning strikes in my username, asking me about the bolts. I thought they were talking about literal bolts, like nuts and bolts, and I shook it off until it hit me. I'm looking up 2 lightning bolts, and I get results for supremacy and neo-Nazism. My face instantly turns red. I was so fucking embarrassed. I'm still embarrassed. I'm glad someone got my head out of the clouds, because that was so stupid of me. Too long didn't read. Everyone thought I was a Nazi because I had no idea that my username icons were a hate symbol. Edit, no, they never taught me about the SS symbol at school. I was a huge sucker for world history, so I definitely would have known if I were taught. I graduated in 2023. Yeah, so I do wonder what country OP is in. It would not surprise me if they live in America and they graduated American schools, and that Americans, especially graduating in 2023, simply weren't taught about Nazi Germany and World War II history, right? It doesn't surprise me that history in areas like that might be lacking in certain places. In the UK, we were taught it, but we were taught a very one-sided view of like, England did nothing wrong and they won the war and everything was down to England, you know? We basically don't get taught about the involvement of other countries and how they helped England, and also the atrocities committed by England in World War II. Like, Winston Churchill was a fucking horrible racist person who was the result of millions of deaths, you know, like India. So whatever, but that's besides the point, right? Yeah, the lightning symbols being a very, very iconic symbol in Nazi history is a pretty big thing, and yeah, that I can see why people might be like, I think that you might be a Nazi. And you've got the double lightning in your username. Oh man, it would have been even worse if you were born in 1988, so you had 88 and 2 lightning symbols in your username. Would have been even worse. So yeah, word of the wise to people: if you're looking at putting symbols or numbers or things like that in your username or abbreviations, always look up what the symbol symbols, the numbers, or the abbreviations might represent in modern day society, because there are, it turns out, a surprising amount of neo-Nazi symbols that get used, especially across Twitter at the moment. So be careful out there. But that is the perfect place to end the video. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. If you would like to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or equally you can click on the join button on the channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. But a huge, massive special thank you to all of the wonderful YouTube members and patrons that do support the channel. All of your names are up on screen right now. It genuinely helps so much, and it genuinely means so much. So thank you to everybody that does. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.